Welcome to the Shakaama Live Show with your host, Shakaama. While everybody else is raising money during this coronavirus, I'm asking you all to help me out. I'm $500 in the hole. That means simply that 10 of you would donate $50. Also, I would like to ask, if you want to help the channel out, that you would do this. Try and watch 10 of my videos back to back to back. What I'll do is I'll go and make a playlist of the shortest videos that I have in my channel. I have over 3,000 videos. I actually have more. YouTube actually deletes videos without telling me. No rhyme or reason. They just delete videos because it's their platform. They can do whatever they want. But if you actually watched 10 of my videos back to back to back, I'll try and find videos that are like 30 seconds long. So it would be a great simple for you. But even if it's not short videos, if you could watch 2 or 3 of my videos and then watch something else. Let's say you watched 3 10-minute videos of mine back to back and then watch something else, that'd be great too. So let's get on with the story. So I'm going to give you the story from the perspective of how the newspapers write the story, and then I'm going to give you the facts. So this poor woman is trying to raise 2 boys all on her own, and she's tried to do the very best for them, provide them with the very best life, but she can no longer afford it, so she had to sue for child support of the donor for arrear child supports and any child support going forward. Now, why would you say she would sue a donor? Well, in this particular case, the donor has been the father all along. He's been there each and every year. Even in his last email, he signed the email, Dad. So, based on those facts, he's acting as a parent, and therefore, he should do his parental duties and pay child support. Not only that, but the children visit him. They went and visited him in Europe, which he paid for the plane ticket for them to come see him. He visits them when he's in Canada. His parents live in Canada, and being the grandparents, sometimes they have even babysat the children. He sees them every opportunity that he can. They call him Dad, and her brother even said, I'm an uncle, and there's no way that they are even happy to see me, but they are definitely happy to see him. He's definitely a dad. Okay, though that's the way that the news presented the story. Here are the facts. The 2 people in question are both doctors. They met in medical school. Being friendly, the woman, I guess, was not married and I guess knew she would never get married, so she asked him, her friend in medical school, if at some point later in life he would be a donor for her. And he said, if that ever comes up, I'll think about it. Okay, well, the man in question that we're talking about is gay. So years later, after med school, she hit him up and said, all right, it's here. I want you to be a donor. So them both being doctors, I believe they did the whole procedure at home and then stored the donation in some sort of facility, but it was not handled specifically by a clinic. So she had 1 child. He was not there for prenatal visits. He was not there at the birth. However, he did sign the birth certificate so the child would know who the actual biological father is. I mean, it just makes common sense, right? Then she had a 2nd child, another boy, 2 boys, right? Once again, he was not there for any prenatal visits. He was not there for the birth, but he did come and sign the birth certificate. Little point of order. They went to medical school in Canada. She's Canadian, he's Canadian, everybody's Canadian. After medical school, he lived in the United States, did his residency in the United States, then moved to England, then moved to the rest of Europe, and is in Europe somewhere, right? So he has not been in Canada this entire time. Now, of course, he has a boyfriend. He comes to Canada twice a year. While he is in Canada, visiting his friends and family, he also visits the two boys. But let's back up. After the birth of the second child, he signed a contract stating he gives up all parental rights and responsibilities to the children. He has no say in their being raised. He has no say in their medical care. He has no say in their educational care. He has no say about anything about the children. Even if the mother should pass away, will he not have responsibility for the children, nor seek custody at any time of the children, no matter what. That's a contract that he signed, that she signed with him. Also, in the contract, he has no financial obligations to the children. He signed it, she signed it. Once, when one of the boys wanted to go to private school, he up and donated $22,000 to help him go to private school. He paid for them to come see him in England. He paid for them to go with him to Disneyland. He does not live in Canada. He sees them and anybody else in Canada twice a year. Now, they claim that since he signs his letter dad, that means that he's acting as a father. And therefore, he should pay the arrears child support and all future child support. But wait, the final straw comes when you find out that when the woman says she can no longer afford the upkeep of the children and has not been able to afford the upkeep of the children, you find out that she makes $250,000 a year. Now, going over Canada law, Canada is in the process of changing all family laws. There was a law that stated that should a person on their own, in the privacy of their home or something, make a donation to a woman, or I guess it's gender neutral, or woman or man, make a donation to a woman. We'll just say it that way because the other way doesn't make sense to me, but that's just me. The law says it's gender neutral. If you make a donation to a woman outside of a clinic and you signed a contract, that should be it. However, that also means that if you sign a contract, you cannot come back and sue for custody of the child. So once you sign a contract, not only can you not be sued for child support, but you yourself cannot sue for custody of the child. Apparently there was some sort of problem with that, of the donor suing the mother for custody of the child. So in order to make that law, they said, okay, once you sign your parental responsibilities away, you are forbidden from then on ever to have any sort of dealing with the child. And she is saying that him actually visiting the children twice in a year, that constitute him having an influence in their life, although he does not have a say in anything about the children at all, and never has. He simply visited them. And most of the time, she's with them anyway. So he's seeing an old friend and her children. The law going forward, they're saying that gave too much power to men outside of an actual clinic. so that the men could sign a contract and be completely off the hook for child support, whereas inside of a clinic, they could still be sought after for child support. And they said, okay, we're going to change the entire law. Biological fatherhood does not constitute fatherhood any longer in Canada. So just because you are the biological father of the children, provable in court, provable with a DNA test, it doesn't actually mean that you're the father. The father is the person who they have actually set up as the father. That particular law is still in the works and doesn't apply to this particular case. But under that law, it would literally mean that being a donor does not constitute you being the father. You don't have any right to come and sue for custody of the child, nor do they have a right to sue you for child support. And the reason that this is a big case is because in Australia, they had it that said, if you donate to a clinic, the clinic can keep you completely anonymous. Well, they turned around and changed it to say that the children could go find out who their father was. Of course, never letting an opportunity go to waste, when that law was changed, women then found out who the father was and then started suing the donors for child support. A person who had absolutely nothing to do with them, doesn't know them, has nothing to do with them. And they were suing these men for child support. Same thing in England and across Europe. I'm not aware of the, simply because most of the stuff I read is overseas. I'm not aware of the laws here strictly in the United States or what has gone on in the actual cases here in the United States. But I wouldn't put it past women to try and sue the clinic to find out who the father was and then try and sue him for child support. Here's a fun fact. They did an actual survey of something like 50,000 homes, which scientifically you only need like 1,000 people for adequate representation of a population. But this one, they did 50,000 homes, and they found that with the addition of children to the home, nothing changed financially in the home. Cost of living didn't change at all. Lifestyle didn't change at all, except to adjust to having children in the home. The mom doesn't eat less. The dad doesn't eat less. Everybody simply adjusts to having the child in the home. That's it. That's what happens. And all of these ideas and in the promotion of it takes $250,000 to raise a child is false and fake. These are expenditures that happen in the daily course of living. So if it takes $250,000 to raise a child, how much does it take to raise a woman? How much does it take to raise a man? It's all fake and phony financial stuff promoted by people trying to get child support into a system that doesn't need child support. There is no financial responsibility that you need. If you have a child, you adjust to having a child around you, if the child is your responsibility. Literally, they said nobody needs child support. Literally, 50,000 different families. That means people with children and people without children. And with 50,000 people, you can make all sorts of different congruent statements. This couple makes $50,000 a year. This couple makes $50,000 a year. This couple is composed of a veterinarian and a nurse. This couple is composed of a veterinarian and a nurse, and they have 2 children. And they found no difference in lifestyle and in financial responsibilities. No change. None. Zero. And if you look at it, look at our tax system. How much do we get for children? You get a $1,000 deduction for children. Now, for the people who said, but I pay for my kid to go to Little League and he goes to football and then he goes to tennis and then he has the school plays and that's just you being a good parent. It's not necessary. And I have to drive and I have to spend all this gas on driving him to baseball and basketball and football. That's just you being a good parent. It's not necessary. You know what's necessary? Feeding him, which comes out of your own food expense. Clothing him, which is pretty much, again, your own expense. It's not really extra on the family. It's not an extra burden on the family. Like you see these guys with the kid, the child, the baby wearing Gucci, that's just them. Medical expenses, health insurance, for the most part, that's already covered. For the most part. And if you don't have health insurance because you're poor or you work minimum wage, that's you not being a responsible adult. That's what that means. You don't need to have taxpayers pay for your children. You need to be a responsible adult. That's what's going on there. So, of course, nobody is going to cite the research that said, no, child support is not necessary. And in fact, nobody actually really adjusts to a child to the tune of $250,000. No more than they adjust to the wife that spends all the money, refurbishes the house, redoes the entire kitchen every 3 years. That's an expense that somebody has done out of their own free will. Now, for all of you naysayers who say, no, that's a responsibility. No. The only time that is a question is at all is we're talking about a person who is not being a responsible adult. Prove me wrong. Change my mind. Well, she can't afford the children because she can't afford the children. Because she can't afford to live herself. That's what's going on. But we don't want to talk about that. We don't want to say, why are you working a minimum wage job when you're 35 and have been for 10 years? Why? Have you put your resume out? Have you done the regular duties to be an adult? You're not getting any younger. Will some people make minimum wage? No, they don't do the responsible thing. Well, there's no other job in the town. There's no other jobs in the town. So there's nobody in the town who makes $250,000? Nobody in the town who makes $500,000? Nobody. Nobody? Sure about that? Walmart has been in, I believe, they've permeated every small town, or they have gotten so close to maximizing their control of areas that they are within driving distance of every single town in the United States. That means there's a general manager of Walmart, right? And he makes money. Well, not everybody can be a general manager. That means that what does it take to be a general manager of a Walmart? Does it take a college degree? No, it doesn't. It takes experience. That's all it takes. And if it takes just experience to be a general manager of a Walmart, it takes just experience to be the general manager of all those other places too. People with degrees work in the headquarters or at the district level. Even the district managers don't have degrees for a lot of businesses. People with degrees actually set up entire systems. Now, let's get back to this case. She makes $250,000 a year. End of story. That should be the end of the story. He signed a contract. That should be the end of the story. He can call himself Mr. Blue Man Group. That doesn't make him Mr. Blue Man Group. That doesn't make him their father. He can sign it dad, daddy dude. He can sign it uncle. And they came up with this terminology that is directly a part of this particular world. It's called a spunkle. It is called, it's a euphemism for being the uncle. It is not the dad, but he is the biological father, and he's in the children's lives at some point, to the point that they know that he is, in fact, the biological father. But he has no say in anything. So he is the known father. It's called spunkle. It's actually a technical term. And he said he was just being a good spunkle, meaning he paid $22,000 1 year, one time. He took them on a trip to Disneyland one time. He paid for them to come see him in England. Yeah, one time. He's just being a good spunkle. Now, her claim is that she cannot afford the children, making $250,000 a year. I want everybody here to tell me how much they make if they have children, and are they making it? Are they not being able to stretch it to raise 2 boys on $250,000 a year, each and every year, which probably means she's probably has like what, a few million saved up, right? Because that's how that works. If you're a responsible 1%er, she's not even 1%. She's in the 0.01%. She's no. She's a 1%er. Anyway, thank you for all watching. Click on any of my videos after this. And if you made it this far in the video, I want you to write, "He's just a good spunkle." Thank y'all for watching.